Hi friends, welcome to our YouTube channel IT support. And in the last video we have learned about permissions on Linux file and special permissions like SUID, SGID and sticky bit permissions on Linux file system. So today we are going to learn access control list. This is the also one kind of permissions which are going to be applied on particular file or directory for different user. Suppose you have 10 user and you want to allow only 2 user to access those files or directory, so you can use ACL, and with ACL you can allow those user to use that file. They can access, read, write and execute to particular file. So and the other user will not have that kind of permission like the ACL's users are having. So there are two types of access control list permission. The first is normal ACLs. This is normal ACLs we are applying on file so that user can access the file. Also the default ACL. The default ACL, when we are this default ACL is applied to the directory so that the ACLs are get inherited to the containing file. So suppose we want to inherit the ACLs rights to the child file, like if we applied a default ACL on particular directory, so the files and subdirectory inside that directory will get access same as the parent directory. So the command used to check the ACL is getfacl. So let me show you. Getfacl is the command to use to check access control list permission. So I'm going to check facl, get facl for file. So here the owner of here it is showing file, and owner of that file is root, group is also root. Okay, now other users for whom we want to give ACLs, so these are not mentioned right now. Okay, if you mention, if you give the access control list for particular user, if you apply that permission, that particular user will get the rights on this file. And this is also for group. See, the secondary group 1 is already having the read, write and execute permission for file, and this mask is recalculate value. It is like a sum of all the permissions. So the sum of recalculation value of mask is equal to read, write and execute, because it is applied to group, and according to that these all user group permissions the mask value will set. Other are not having any kind of permissions. So let me create any file and then apply the ACL for any user. So I'm going to create one file containing word hi, example f1 is a file. Okay, it is created. Let me check the access control list for this file. So here the owner of the file is root, group is the root, and user is having read write permission. Other user, any user is having read write permission, groups are having read permission, and others are having the read permission for this file. Great. So let me set the permission for user. To set the permissions, to set the access control list, we use the command setfacl. So we are going to apply setfacl. We are going to use -m to modify access control list. Okay, so concentrate on it. We are going to give ACL for user, so the keyword will be user, then colon, then user name. I'm going to give permission for user 1. User 1 is the user into the system, and for whom we are going to give permission read, write, and execute. Okay, and then the file name. This is file name, and if I press enter, the access control list is applied for user 1. So let me check getfacl example f1. If we press enter, so here you can see owner is the root, group is the root, users, other users are having read write permission, and the ACL user is also added, and user 1, the username is user 1 having read write and execute permission. Group is having read permission, but we have not added any group. So let's to add any group in it. So for group, this user keyword will be changed with group, and we have to mention the group name. Group, I have a group name group 1. This is a group name. I'm also going to give read write and execute permission for that file. So if I press enter, the ACLs is applied. If I'm going to check, so here you can see ACL group 1 is having read write and execute permission. Okay, so we have applied the ACL. So let's check who are the user inside this group 1 and user 1. So first check with the read permission whether it is applied for user 1 or not. So if we log in as a user 1, okay, so I got login with the user 1, and I'm going to cat the file f1. So user 1 can access the file. Okay, now I'm going to log out from user and log in as a root. Now group 1 is also having the permission for file 1. So who those what are the users inside the group 1? So let's check, do cat etc and group. So if we check, group 1 is having user 2 and user 3. So user 2 and user 3 also can access the file. So I'm going to log in as a user 2 to check whether the permission is applied for user 2 or not. He should also get access. So cat temp example 1. So user 2 also can access, and let me come again as a root. Let me log in as a user 3. Okay, now user 3 so user 3 can also read the file. So now we are going to remove ACL for user 1. Okay, and then we are going to log in as a user 1, and then we'll check whether ACL is working or not. So I'm going to log in as a root. Okay, now set FACL. We are going to modify the permission for user, and for user 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 1, and you are going to remove the permission for user 1, and file name. So we have applied. Now log in as a user 1 and check if you can read the content of F1. So permission denied. Okay, so user 1 is get blocked, and user 1 will not able to access the file, but still user 2 and user 3 are getting access on that file because they are in the same group, and we have to given the permission for the group to access that file. Okay, now let's apply the default permission. So as I explained, if you apply the default ACL on any directory, so the child directory or child file will get the same ACL from the parent. Okay, so let's check FACL for any directory. Like I'm going to check for example directory. If you press enter, so here you can see uh, no ACLs is applied for example directory. You can also check these by ls-l. Okay, temp example, and to check the permission for directory example itself, you have to write D. If you're not writing D, then it will show you the file permission. It will show you the permissions of the file inside the example directory. But if you want to see the examples permission, example file directories permission, so you have to write D. If you press enter, it will show you the permissions for D. So inside this example directory, there are two files, F1 and file 1. In F1 we have applied the ACL, so the symbol is plus. It means the ACL is applied on the file. But for this directory you cannot see any plus symbol, so ACL is not applied on this particular directory. So let me apply FACL -m D for default. So you have to define D, and then user. Okay, user 1, I'm going to give permission for user 1, read, write, execute for directory example. If I press enter, oh I'm sorry, I have to log in as a root because I'm in user 1 and user 1 is not having permission to apply any kind of ACLs. You have to be root, or you normal user can also do the ACL, but he has uh, permission to apply it. The sudo file will in sudo file you have to mention what kind of permission the particular user will have to create all those things. So copy this command and paste as it is. You press enter, and let's check FACL for file example. So also the do ls-ld temp example So plus symbol is here, ACL is applied, and here I also fire the command getfacl for this directory. So the default is specially defined in the information of ACL, and here it is showing that default user 1 is having read write execute permission, and group name is not defined over here, so it is blank, but the username is defined. So as I told you, the child directory also inherited by the parent directory. So if I am going to make any file inside the example directory F2, and if I am going to check the FACL for F2, so see here user1 already gets added with read write execute permission. It got inherited from parent directory. I have not applied any kind of ACLs for F2, and it is recently created. So the child file gets inherited by ACL get inherited by parent directory. Okay, so let's try to remove this ACL for user 1. So in order to remove the permissions, we can use -x. So set facl -x for user, okay, and the file name temp example. I'm going to remove for F2. If I press enter, oh, username is required, user1. Okay, so user1 is removed from F2 file. So get facl example F2. So here you can see user is removed. That line, this line is get removed. Okay, so -x is used to remove the ACL. Let's create third file. If I create use yes touch command, and if I'm going to check the ACL for F3, then what will happen? Again user 1 will get the same permission which is applied to example directory. Okay, so it will get inherited again and again. And if you want to remove this default permission from the parent directory, then you have to use option -k. Okay, and the -r is used recursively. So if you are going to remove the default permission for directory, so the child file will not get remove the default permission. So if you use hyphen capital R, it will remove recursively for all the file inside the directory. And -b option is used to remove everything. And -k option is removing only the default permission, not the normal ACL. It will remove default ACL only, but -b option will remove all the ACLs. And -n option is used to no mask value. If you set no mask, then no one can execute or use the file. So we are not going to use -n option over here. So let me show you how to use -k with option R. So setfacl hyphen k with R and the name of the directory, simple. And if you are going to set getfacl for example file, the default is removed from here. This line get removed. We can also use -b option. It will remove all the ACLs from all the files. So if you can check facl for a file inside the example directory, okay, so there you will not find any permission for f2 file, for f3 file, okay. So this is how you can use access control list to protect your file, to enhance the security into the system. Keep watching my video, and in next video I will discuss something new with you. So for meanwhile, thank you, bye bye.